Getting closer. GPS says we're like an hour and a half out.
I can't believe how wet everything is. It's just water everywhere.
Pulled up everywhere. I know Kyle had said they got rain this past weekend. He didn't say they got a tsunami.
Matt and I headed to Mississippi.
We are headed to Kyle Bennett's family's farm in Mississippi.
We met Kyle last year at the QDMA National Convention. His dad's actually the owner of the property.
He and his family have got about 400 acres down there, and we are happy to go and consult with his family for the weekend, and they invited us to actually bring shotguns down and try and turkey hunt.
Vision is seeing something in the future. I'm not seeing it for what it is right now. I'm seeing what the potential is and what it's going to turn into. People hire us to come and visit their properties,
consult with the landowner, increase wildlife numbers, improve habitat.
As the last bell goes in the barn, that's the pride of the farm. That's the pride of the farm.
Doesn't feel like turkey hunting country right here, but
No.
we're gonna soon get there.
You know, I grew up watching hunting videos that were based out of Mississippi.
The Truth for Whitetails Face to Face is brought to you by Remington.
He's right over the nose. The creek comes through right there.
We're headed down there, and I'm just drawing back to all these old films I've watched in the big bottoms with these huge oaks. It was the first time for me to ever hunt Mississippi.
He texted me on our way down and said they gobbled really good on the limb, but didn't have much to say after they flew down, but
We'll see.
Well, guys, before we get on site tomorrow and start turkey hunting, kind of give us a rundown, the layout. So after we meet Kyle and his dad, do the introduction, they pull out the Hunt Terra map, and we get our eyes kind of on the property.
These areas right here, we've opened them up. They were all clear cut, what, about 3 years ago, something like that.
2014, yeah.
Yeah.
Have these clear cuts been burned at all since you guys did the clear cut?
No.
So it's 3 years without burning.
Right,
So it's
right.
starting.
Kyle's dad owns a forestry company, so he's very well versed in forestry management and honestly habitat management as well.
And then the lower end, we've got 40 acres of pine plantation
Yeah, I
down
can
there.
see all that right there. What kind of pines are these?
Oh, loblolly.
Okay.
Yeah, but they should have been thinned 2 or 3 years ago.
So most of the property that the Bennetts have is old growth timber. Some portions are pine plantation. One area they have not cut or have not thinned. Another area they did clear cut, and a few small acres were devoted to thinning. But the rest is mature, older growth hardwoods with some mixed pine in it.
You know, a lot of times there's two big kind of finger ridges you can kind of see right here.
that topo line.
You're right. And a lot of times the gobblers like to roost on the tips of these ridges and fly down and strut on top. And so those will be the first places where we'll go try to find them.
Don't get them going at the house.
It seems like everybody tells you Mississippi birds are tough. They're hard to deal with.
It didn't take us long, honestly, that first morning to realize that birds were really still henned up.
So here's where we are. Right here where this blue dot is. We're kind of halfway. This is like the south border. And that bird was roosted somewhere in here.
Of course, we're there to turkey hunt in the morning, and then the big thing that we're going to be doing is actually the consultation on their property.
When you're driving a property, you kind of try to keep your eyes on gravel. But when you go rogue like Matt, you start turning down windy little roads. You just never know what to expect.
I guess against my better judgment, I took a road less traveled.
Just keep her going.
me a good old push back in my rear. Got the boys out and they help push it out. So Granny's Corner is property we have come to in the past and consulted with Matt, the landowner. How you doing, Matt?
Pretty good. How are you guys?
Nice to meet you. I feel like it's oftentimes that smaller properties are overlooked.
It's an interesting piece. It's part of a large cattle farm, but it's really only 20 acres that gets managed. Even though it still is only 20 acres, there's a lot of things he can do to have a big impact in that neighborhood.
So as we're down in Mississippi turkey hunting, we get a text from Matt, and he's wondering, what can I be doing at this time of year? In late March in Missouri, the fescue grass has already started to green up. They're photosynthesizing while the native species aren't yet. So we can apply a herbicide treatment to that fescue grass, terminate that, and then allow the natives to grow and not harm them with that herbicide treatment. This is a great time of year to do that. So last time we were at this property with Matt, we did some hack and squirt with him, kind of showing him how to do this and the impact it's going to have on his timber.
I love this property and love the story with it because it's 20 acres. And I think we all think that if you're going to have a big impact on your land, you have to have a big chunk of ground. And honestly, it's the guys with the smaller pieces, and they're looking at it from, I'm going to manage it by feet, not acres. They really manicure the whole thing almost in a lawn effect where there's not a piece of ground that's not managed, and that's what's going to happen on this 20 acres.
We're looking forward to helping Matt this spring as he begins to plant food plots there on that property.
So it's third morning now. We haven't heard a bird gobble since the first morning about 7:30. We're getting a little frustrated.
We'd like to hear birds, gobbling so we can at least give it a chance to be able to set up. But right now they're just unresponsive. Kicking our tails. My optimism is slowly fading.
It's just one of those things with turkey hunting. You never know when it's going to happen. And I was thinking back while we were walking through the timber is last year Missouri came down on the final day and we were in for an exciting morning.
We can actually see him while he's on the limb and he's gobbling like crazy. Decoys are out in the field and we're hoping he pitches down, walks right to the decoys, done deal.
He flies down. And it didn't take him long at all. There was something he didn't like. Matt and I had a little bit of miscommunication. I thought he was gonna shoot first. He thought I was gonna shoot first.
I held off, and then Adam started ringing out the shots. I threw a shot into the mix.
Matt, he's good at a lot of things, but I guess shooting isn't one of them.
Hit it, boys.
Well, I guess neither am I.
The bird crosses the fence. I steadied the gun, pulled the trigger, and finally you see it go down.
It's just out of range for my 20 gauge, I guess.
Adam shoots 3 times, I shoot twice, I tag the bird, I win.
It was not a pretty hunt, but you know what? It goes like that sometimes. So this is your 49 acre
40 acres.
loblolly plantation?
Yeah, pine plantation.
So loblolly is one of the most popular pines down south, grows faster than a lot of the others.
So pine plantations are so common across the South, and they have multiple on the property and one that they haven't been able to actually go in and cut.
They should have already been thinned.
Yeah.
We're trying to get them thin now, but it's the market's over here tight. We know it needs it.
It's a monoculture of loblolly pines, and there's very little growth underneath. It's completely shaded. So it's 40 acres on this southern portion of the property that is big, and takes up a lot of space, but doesn't add any value right now to it.
The landowners were already aware of the situation. They see the benefits of getting those trees cut, so it's time to bring in a logging crew and get some sunlight on the forest floor.
Well, I know there's other sites that have already been clear cut and thinned. Let's go see what those ones look like and get an idea of what could come back in this era. So this is one of the clear cuts. You said this one is about 20 acres.
Right, we have about 20 acres here. We're on growing season number 4.
And all this is just native regeneration. Nothing was planted.
Nothing has been planted.
So we left the pine plantation, and we go to this area that's a clear cut, which was once a pine plantation, but we can see now what sunlight does to the forest floor.
There was chest high, if not taller, grasses, forbs, and shrubs growing back, and they hadn't planted any of this. This was just native, what had been in the seed bank after they cut the pines had naturally grown back. That's the difference, because in 2014, prior to that, this site looked just like that other pine plantation.
We have a huge amount of growth, all kinds of native grass. We look at how beneficial that clear cut is, and we want to replicate that. It may not be on that big of a scale, but maybe in a 2 to 3 acre scale across a property, almost in a polka dot effect, to where we have these small little clear cuts scattered around, providing great forage and cover for the wildlife.
You know, I'm really encouraged by the Bennett's property. What they've done so far has been great. You know, they've got the right mindset. They're not afraid of change. They've got areas that are thin. They've got areas that are clear cut. They've got some that they need to continue to thin when the market gets there. But overall, prescribed fire on that property, and they're well on their way to reaching their goals of harvesting mature bucks each and every year.